Right, hello, good morning, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. As a Tuesday, the 2nd day of April 2024. And we're here. We're at another edition of the show. Our gratitude will go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making around here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into a panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But of course, we have a few newspapers, but lots and lots and lots of news items. So let's check out the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic, Pump Optimism, Mac Easter. Import duty stall, Hill Konfanochi project. Parliament approves 6.87 billion cedis for NHIA. Dialysis for needy. Promoting health checks covered. There's cure for cleft lips children. Surgeon. A new crusading guide. Baumia Jabs Mahama says a vote for Mahama is a vote for his retirement package. You may inherit fantastic wealth. Without discipline, you go bankrupt. Tekpe's take on economy. Chiefs of Ahafu in Kasem appeal to Newmont to support youth in community mining program. AG admonishes IGP to desist from impounding vehicles without valid insurance certificate. Kokobo denies iPad keyboard allegations. What have they denied? That they are yet to buy. Okay. Teshi youth chief fingered in illegal land grab at Islay gone. The insight. John Bwedu, he says front runners in MPP Aplanke race will be disappointed. Teshi youth chief accused of illegal land grab but insists on lawful acquisition. The blood of the baby that died due to Dumso is on the hands of Napo and Akufo-Addo, Osei Akoto. We stand with Cuba, damned to U.S. imperialism and blockade. Progressives and Cuban solidarity groups declare in Nigeria. Ukraine, Europe sleepwalks through its own dilemmas. And that's about it for the front pages. But of course, the biggest story in Ghana today has to do with what happened at Nungwa, about a 12-year-old girl. And of course, the priest, the chief priest. And that's the biggest story in Ghana, really, this morning. There's been a lot of statements. The office of the chief priest has spoken. They've granted an interview. You've had the Ministry of Chieftaincy speaking. The Ghana Police Service has issued a statement. Gadangbe has also issued a statement. We'll be back shortly. East, that's the Honorable Amidu Chinia Isahaku. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
I got the names right here.
Yes.
Okay. Also with me on the show this morning is the Director, Legal Affairs of the NDC, who's also the Executive Director of FT.
Randy. My board chairman. My board chairman.
Eduji Tamaklo.
My board chairman, Randy. Good morning, Honorable, and good morning to our cherished viewers. Yeah.
You know, when I was told that you were on the show, I was like, did the Honorable go for Easter?
Oh, I went.
Oh, okay.
I was in the constituency for like a week and 4 days. I came back the day for yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I left my constituency the day for yesterday and joined the flight.
Well, it's crazy. How do you guys manage it? Especially those of you whose constituencies are quite a distance from Accra. How are you able to do it?
In fact, my constituency is the capital, is the furthest from Accra in the whole of the country. Tumu is the furthest capital from Accra.
So you fly to Wa?
Yeah.
And then from Wa to your places, how many hours?
About, you take 2 hours.
Okay.
Depend on your car. Sometimes you can take more than, because our route is not very good.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. But the Wa flights are not that regular.
They are not regular. Right? They are not regular, but it's better. I mean, it's a big improvement because you have flights out of the 7 days in a week, 5 days.
5 days?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That must be...
It's only Saturday.
That must be this airline.
Passion, yes. And they're doing an excellent job.
Passion is you see, the the least served or unserved places is where passion really, you know, and I'm thinking that, look, for airlines like that, we need to find a way of supporting them, because I know a bit about that industry and I know that it's crazy. They are reeling under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I perfectly agree with you, because why it's not, I mean, many of the indigenous don't use flights.
Yeah, it's not a financially lucrative route.
Lucrative place, yes. Sunyani, I mean, they used to do Ho, then Tamale. They're doing an excellent job.
Yeah. All right, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, Randy, on this Passion Airline issue, I think it's something that we should consider. I strongly believe that beyond the financials, the decision to actually go to, say, WA and those other places itself is a corporate decision that must not be seen to be a punishment. So that sometimes what you do is that you deliberately give more incentive to such companies so that others will come there. And once they come there, it improves competition for the welfare of the final consumer. So I strongly believe that the Ministry of Transport, Ghana Airports, they know some of the incentives. Maybe if it's even about charging, taxing of the aeroplanes,
well, sometimes
and
for
the
some
costs
of, for sometimes for some of the routes, it will make sense to even reconsider the taxes that we put.
That's the point I'm making
on some of those tickets, so that it's a bit affordable for
improves,
them.
Even
the airlines themselves.
Yes.
Some of the charges that
and their margins.
Yeah, some of the charges for using the airports and all those things. These are things that we ought to really take a second look at. You know, to make it a bit more competitive. When you speak with players in that industry, it's perhaps a miracle that some of them are still, you know, going around this business. Anyway, but if you're looking for a toothpaste that will take care of all the family and save money, well, at least if you cannot afford to buy an air ticket, you should be able to afford a good toothpaste. Okay, so the recommended family toothpaste is KEL 360 toothpaste and is approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. KEL 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KEL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KEL 360 toothpaste. KEL 360 toothpaste brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mints, gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KEL 360 toothpaste. KEL 360 toothpaste, another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, and is available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 024-6864-798. KEL 360 toothpaste, happy smile. And the pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging for all ages, but worry no more. Lift and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumono, or just call them on 0200535515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movement. And Estate Masters Limited is giving a 10% discount on all their lands. These lands are located at Ningo Pram, close to the Central University in Chupoli, close to the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project. And the prices range from 12,500 cedis to 25,000 cedis. So you can contact Estate Masters Limited on 0500-304-447 or 0593-803-180. Or you can also find them on social media at Estate Masters GH or www.estatemastersgh.com. All right. So we get on with this something here. Now, Eduji, so you are the lawyer here.
Yes.
Oh, no, but you're not a lawyer, right?
No, okay. I'm not a lawyer.
Okay, so you're like me.
I have at least some legal background. It was my method. we did a program together.
Yes.
Okay.
We did
LLM.
a
Masters in law.
LLM.
Okay.
But I have done
together.
LLB.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you have a...
Except that I haven't gone to Makola.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. There are many like you. Anyway, so I've just seen this interesting letter from the Attorney General to the Inspector General of Police.
Okay.
It might sound something innocuous, but some people feel harassed, and they feel that it's an issue that is probably, I don't know how to put it, but I think that there's some level of high-handedness, you know. But impounding of or prohibition of the use of motor vehicles for minor violations of road traffic regulations. And the Attorney General writes, I wish your good self and the Ghana Police Service a happy new year. Okay. So this letter was actually dated the 9th of February. So it's over a month old. And it says that the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice has received incessant complaints from members of the public, including lawyers and senior public officials, about the tendency of officers of the Ghana Police Service to impound or prohibit the use of motor vehicles deemed to have violated provisions of the Road Traffic Regulations 2012 LI 2180. The provisions of LI 2180, under which police officers regularly exercise the discretion to impound vehicles, relate to alleged violations of the rules of road contained in Regulation 106 and other provisions pertaining to crossing the red light or driving a vehicle without a valid insurance certificate. A reason often advanced by police officers for impounding a vehicle is the necessity to, quote, use the vehicle as an exhibit in court proceedings. Whilst noting the mandate of personnel of the Ghana Police Service, we observe that relevant provisions of Regulations 158 of LI 2180, which govern the power to inspect, impound, and prohibit the use of motor vehicles, stipulate as follows. An examiner, an authorized vehicle inspector appointed by the licensing authority or a police officer may inspect a motor vehicle or a trailer to ascertain whether the provisions of the Act or regulation made or permit issued under the Act are being complied with. In the event of non-compliance, an examiner authorized by the licensing authority or a police officer not below the rank of inspector may, by order in writing, prohibit the further use of the motor vehicle or the trailer until the provision has been complied with. And then it goes on with the 5 and then the 7. The 7 says a person who contravenes this regulation commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 25 penalty units and not more than 50 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment of not more than 3 months, or to both. It says a careful examination of LI 2180 disclosed that the violations for which police officers regularly impound vehicles, including Regulation 106, Rules of the Road, and other provisions relating to ignoring red light and driving without a valid insurance, are misdemeanors. This is easily discernible from the prescribed punishment of a maximum of 50 penalty units or a term of imprisonment of no more than 3 months, or to both. By virtue of Section 1 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, a misdemeanor is construed in accordance with Section 296 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act 30, Section 2964 of Act 30 stipulates where a criminal offence which is not an offence mentioned in subsection 5 is declared by an enactment to be a misdemeanor, and a punishment for that offence is not specified, a person convicted of that offence is liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. It is thus beyond doubt that the violations, the subject matter of this letter, are misdemeanors. An application of the road traffic regulations, particularly Regulation 158, requires fairness, candor, and reasonableness. The impounding of a vehicle is not necessary for proof of a violation of any of the rules contained in Regulation 158, or indeed most of the provisions in LI 2180. Thus, a position that a vehicle is required to be used as an exhibit in court is untenable and unreasonable. As Attorney General and the principal legal advisor to the government, I advise that police officers should desist from impounding or prohibition of the use of a motor vehicle for minor offense, such as an alleged violation of any of the rules of the road contained in Regulation 106 and other provisions pertaining to crossing the red light or driving a vehicle without a valid insurance certificate, etc. An unreasonable exercise of discretion or a failure to adhere to the advice herein has the tendency to result in unnecessary suits against the government occasioning needless expense and potentially avoidable judgment debts. The Office of the Attorney General is already inundated with many suits arising from wrongful exercise of discretion and negligence by police officers. Further, ought to be noted that responsibility for maintaining the condition of an impounded vehicle shifts from the owner of the vehicle to the state. Impounded vehicles are exposed to the risk of deterioration and theft of essential parts. Accept the assurances of my highest esteemed Godfrey Debo Adami, Attorney General, Minister of Justice. Adeji, are you one of the lawyers who have complained to the AG?
Oh, no. My complaints have not gotten to the Office of the Attorney General on this first matter. I think I essentially agree with the Attorney General on this matter. And I would rather plead with the officers of the Ghana Police to exercise a lot of great judgment when it
You're
comes
under arrest.
to
Let's go to the station.
that kind of situation. Yes. And oftentimes, the danger is that when you are arrested, there's always the request also to take your driver's license.
Yes. Then they sit in the car. Let's go to the station.
That process, a lot of negotiations can happen within where you are arrested and to the nearest police station. You can negotiate your way out if the possibility exists. I strongly believe that whatever it is, the Ghana police and officers, most of whom we interact with in our daily activities, should consider this advice. And
this is clearly a 1960 legislation. I don't know if it's gone through some amendments yet. But obviously, how do you use a vehicle as exhibit in a case involving jumping a red light?
And oftentimes, the proper exhibit in such an offense will be whether or not you cross the red light.
Yes.
It is not the physical possession of the car.
Or not having your license on you.
And thankfully,
or not having a driver's license. Or using an expired license.
Yes. Thankfully for the Accra roads, because of the video, the intelligent traffic system, the videos are able to capture you when you cross. So I strongly believe that the tendering of that video recording should be enough evidence for the purposes of establishing whether or not I crossed the red light, and if so, whether it was deliberately done. I believe that that can be done without impounding the cars. And so I will plead with the great officers of the Ghana Police Service to consider this advice greatly. And like it is stated in the advice, the danger is that when you impound these cars and it goes out there for long and there are deterioration in the value of the car, is the state in readiness, as it were, to compensate these individuals for the loss, either in value or whatever. That becomes another challenge on the Republic. So I think this is something that IGP Dampare, his officers, the great officers of the Ghana Police, can make things work better. And I think it's doable instead of impounding those vehicles. And you notice that on the issue of it being a misdemeanor, even though there are some, the judges are at liberty, even with misdemeanor, to do sometimes custodian sentence, often is a fine. So if it will result in a fine, why would you, for the purposes of anything, say, I'm impounding the car? I think these are all things that have been introduced into the justice, or let me say, the criminal process by the police to make it a bit more difficult for the purpose of the negotiation. If the outcome is so easy to reach, the negotiation becomes problematic. So I strongly believe that this is something that should be carried through.
Honorable.
Well, Randy, let me say good morning to my friend, lawyer, and to my constituents and all those listening to it this morning. I also want to add my voice to what lawyer has just said in agreeing with the Attorney General that this advice to the police is timely and necessary. I have had the experience of being arrested or stopped by police officers because they alleged I had crossed the red light. And we were two. When he stopped us, I was in front. The person that was behind me had cause to challenge that, he had not crossed the red light. And the police officer requested that we should go to the police station. And I told him that you can take the vehicle number. You can take my particulars if you want, and then once you say you have video evidence of we crossing, that is what you need as exhibits to take us to court if you so wish. But to say that we have to drive to the police station without considering what errand we are running and the cost of the errand, if you waste my time in the case of a misdemeanor, what will be the consequence if I have to sue you for having wasted my time for a crime that is not grievous? But he insisted, and I willingly agreed. But the person that was with me, resisted. They had a lot of confrontation to the extent that when we go to the police station, I had to start talking to the other person that should exercise patience and let's listen to them. And suddenly, another police officer who noticed me and knew me as an MP and a deputy minister, said, "Honorable, what are you doing here?" And because I didn't disclose who I was to the person. And the police who arrested us began to say that, I conducted myself well and so I should go. But the other person misbehaved and so he will have to. And I had to intervene. I have to let him know that some of these things, you cannot use vehicle as evidence like lawyer said. What kind of evidence is it going to serve in the law court if you are going to keep my vehicle at the police station? And so I believe that somehow the police officers are abusing with the citizens, relying on some of these laws, which is not fair. And I perfectly agree with the AG that the Inspector General and the police service should take a second look at it. Because if citizens are minded to actually take on the police service after some of these alleged crimes and being disturbed and your vehicle being kept for days and all that, and probably the activity you are going to carry out and the fact that you've been arrested and probably the time wasted and the effect on what you are going to do, probably the state will pay more for whatever crime that you might have committed, and that is not good enough. And so I will add my voice to lawyer in urging the IGP and the police service to adhere to this advice by the AG.
The police, they are friends, so we live in the same community and others with them. Some of these things create needless enmity between us and the police. And I strongly believe that is completely avoidable. If the purpose of the arrest, the preparation of your docket or whatever to go to court for a breach of that traffic offense, I strongly believe that the evidence that is required in court is not the vehicle. In fact, no judge will come out and say, I want to inspect. But thankfully today, the police have the benefit of cameras almost at all our traffic intersections. And it's easier to extract this, video for the purposes of tendering it in evidence. That can be done without the impounded car, which is so easier for us if for the purposes of proving that a wrong has been done. So I think this is something that we should all support and get it done.
All right, so I'm sure that for both of you in your LLB class, one of the things that you read about had to do with the hierarchy of laws and the fact that there are laws that are recognized by the Constitution, and that includes customary law. But that's why I also refer to hierarchy of laws.
Yes.
And I'm sure that in this conversation, that issue is going to come up again because there clearly will be a conflict of customary law and other laws. Now, the Gbobu Wulomo Shrine in Nungwa is defending itself against calls for the arrest of a 63-year-old priest over the marriage to a minor. The controversy erupted following the marriage ceremony held on March 20, sparking widespread outrage and demands for the traditional priest, Nomo Bokete Lawechuru. Is that 33rd? Okay, his prosecution. According to the Gbobu Wulomo Temple, Na Yomo Ayemwade has been designated to attend to one of the 99 deities of the Gadangbe group, which necessitates her being a virgin. This requirement led to the decision to publicly conduct the marriage ceremony to ensure her purity was maintained and to safeguard her from sexual violation by men. A spokesperson for the temple, Nibote Kofi Frankwa II, explained that the selection of the 12-year-old Nayomo Ayemwade by Gbobu Wulomo is a spiritual practice that began 6 years ago. She is expected to fulfill a role within the shrine that is traditionally reserved only for virgins. According to the spokesperson, the critics who have cried foul over the development do not appreciate the tenets of the Gadangbe tradition. Quote, when somebody makes such a call, it comes from a point of ignorance because first, you need to come closer and ask so that you appreciate what it is, but not take hook, line, and sinker what is being said. He said at a press conference, it's because it goes beyond what is being preached out there. It is deeper than what is being preached. It's deeper for our spirituality. He told Accra-based GH1. Meanwhile, the chief of Sempe and Mankralo of the Ghana State, near Adote Otinto II, condemned the marriage by the priest. Speaking to Joy News, the traditional leader called on the youth of the area to resist this development as it would dent the reputation of the townsfolk. The chieftaincy ministry also says it's probing the circumstances. Now, Gadangbe has issued a statement signed by its president, the Honorable Ayikwe Otu, a former Attorney General of this republic. Now, he says that the recent report of the Gbobu Wulomo being married to a girl under the legal age of marriage has raised concerns and sparked controversy. The Gadangbe Council viewed the phenomenon as a complex issue that requires careful consideration and action, and for which reason the Council refrained from expressing opinion when the story broke, preferring to do more research and consultations on the matter, considering that the Gbobu Wulomo himself is not an illiterate. At first blush, the council, like all other well-meaning Ghanaians and social commentators, deprecated and denounced the ceremony christened a Ghana customary wedding, Boy Ekpayo. Additionally, it is not difficult to infer that a significant age difference between the two parties may create an imbalance of power, leading to potential abuse and exploitation. It is essential to acknowledge the legal and ethical implications of marrying a girl who's underage, because in this country there are strict laws in place to protect minors from exploitation and abuse. By marrying a girl who is not of legal age, the traditional ruler is potentially violating these laws and putting the girl at risk of harm. Many have cited the Constitution 1992, the Criminal Offences Act, and the Children's Act, all dealing with consent to have sex, to be married, defilement of female, and void marriages, which are legitimate concerns, with some even calling for the police and other state actors to set in. In addition to legal and ethical concerns, there are also societal implications to consider. The traditional rulers' actions have reflected poorly on the Nungwa traditional area, as well as the Gadangbe community in general, giving detractors the opportunity to denigrate and make us objects of derision. The other concerns being whether, since the ceremony is part of the traditions of Nungwa, it should be respected and isolated or given immunity from state laws. That also the council finds problematic. Further probing has, however, revealed that instead of a traditional betrothal, the MCs who are known during such occasions to exaggerate issues in order to create laughter and liven up the occasion misled everybody present, as well as the entire community, to believe that what was happening was a traditional wedding. The council has engaged the Gbobu Wulomo himself and some of his elders, and it's important to clarify that the traditional ruler has stated that the relationship with the underage girl is a betrothal and not a marriage. This distinction to us has altered the legal implications. We are inclined to side with the Gbabu Ulomo since the original reportage made the point that there was another ceremony that awaited a girl to purify and prepare her for procreation. We concede that whilst betrothal could involve an underage person, it does not grant license to the person to start having sexual relationship with such a child, thereby jeopardizing their education and even endangering a difficult childbirth since their organs are not properly developed. The Gadangbe Council calls on the Gbabu Ulomo to address the issue and mitigate the concerns surrounding the betrothal and to ensure that a girl's well-being and rights are protected and that her best interests such as her education are prioritized throughout the engagement process. She should continue education until she reaches the legal age of marriage, and even marriage should not disrupt her education if she is still willing to continue. The Gadangbe Council also calls on the parents of the child to keep an eye on her and let her understand that notwithstanding the betrothal demanded by custom, she is still an infant and entitled to enjoy life and engage in youthful pranks like all others of her age. We hope that this statement will assuage injured feelings and let this matter pass. Okay, I doubt if it will. But from the chieftaincy ministry, it also says that it's taking into serious consideration the recent marriage between a 63-year-old traditional priest in Nungwa, Gbabu Ulomo Numo Bokete, Lawe, XXIII is 33, right? Okay. And a 12-year-old girl. The sector minister, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, has pledged to investigate the matter in order for his outfit to understand the issue and take necessary measures since the bride, Naya Mwade, is a minor. Quote, I'm still doing a lot more checks through the traditional authority and the police command on the ground because we're talking about a minor here. We're also trying to reach the family of the 12-year-old. It is not clear what is happening there, and I want to get to the bottom of it. Now, finally, the Ghana Police Service. The Ghana Police Service has identified and located a 12-year-old girl who is alleged to have been married to a 63-year-old Gbabu Ulomo in Nungwa, Accra. The girl and her mother are currently under police protection. The Ghana Police Service is working with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection and the Department of Social Welfare to provide her with the necessary support while the matter is being investigated. Is this a practice that you are used to in your area?
Well, I think betrothal marriage is common across Ghana.
Yes.
It's common across Ghana. But what I want to say is that, Randy, our culture, our tradition is very important because that is what identifies us. Of course, with time, certain aspects of our culture, our traditions, are seen as outmoded and not in tandem with our laws as we have in our constitution and other relevant laws. Betrothal marriage, for me, I personally consider it as one of the outmoded practices that we should not accept, especially that we all respect human rights. I mean, you should respect one's right. And a girl below 12 years and below, 12 years is not matured enough to make a judgment as to who should be her husband. And that one alone for me makes it wrong for whether in this particular marriage there is going to be sexual intercourse or not. I don't think it is right because the girl at the age of 12 cannot make the right judgment. And it is a right to mature and make a judgment for herself as to who she wants to marry. And like you stated earlier, we have a hierarchy of laws. And nobody can, under the pretext of customary laws, undermine the Constitution of Ghana because it is the supreme law. And the supreme law of Ghana is very clear that no woman can marry below 18. Yeah. 18 years. If you are 18 years and below, you cannot get married. So
they said this is not marriage; it's the process leading to marriage. So the process can start even 6 years before you reach the age.
Randy, it cannot be the case. It cannot be the case. Once you start the process we are men, and the temptation of adding other things is very possible. And like I said earlier, as long as a girl is not mature to make an independent decision as to who she wants to marry alone under our human rights law, makes the action wrong.
You said she's been called by the gods. It's the gods who have chosen her.
And I have said that I am a believer of the maintenance of our culture and tradition. Mm-hmm. For instance, our languages, we have to, maintain our languages, the languages we speak, because that one identify, I'm a Sisala man.
Yes.
If I can't speak Sisala, then what makes me a Sisala man? Mm-hmm. Our local names, I'm Chinia. When those who understand Sisala, when they see the name, there are certain names when you see, you know that this is a Sisala man. Mm-hmm. There are certain names you see, you know this is a Ga man, this is a Dagomba man. Those are positive aspects of our traditions that we have to maintain. But for the negative ones, which are in contravention of our laws, must be done away with. And this is clearly one of such laws, traditions that we have to do away with. If you have your daughter, will you determine the husband of your daughter, even when she's 18 years plus? No. You can give pieces of advice to your daughter or any female relation as to the kind of man she should marry, but you cannot make a definite decision as to who the lady should marry.
But if we say that betrothal is something which is widespread in Ghana and is steeped in our culture and our tradition, and it is a practice that is ongoing till today, what makes this one different?
Well, I say...
Is it because it happened in Accra?
No. If it happens in my constituency, I will not support it.
Really?
Yes, I won't support it.
Is it to suggest that there's no longer betrothal in your...
It should be one of the negative cultural practices that we have to do away with. We have to allow girls to grow, mature, and make their independent decision as to who they want to marry. When they go into the marriage and they are suffering, they know it's their own decision. They have that right. You cannot impose on a young lady the husband even before she becomes matured. That is absolutely wrong and against our laws. And so, like I said earlier, there are certain aspects of our culture that we all agree that they are outmoded, they are unacceptable, they are against our existing laws and cannot be practiced. And this is one of them. It used to happen many years ago, but we cannot continue as long as we have the current arrangement of laws. My area, the Sisala area and Upper West for that matter, those things used to happen. But these days, no parent will allow the daughter...
Maybe they're happening on the quiet.
Well,
because people know that if, for example, this one, if he wasn't accompanied by that fanfare, we probably would not have known.
That I agree with you. There are a lot of wrong things that happen at our blind side. But once it happens at our blind side and we don't see or don't hear, we can't say sometimes. But once we get to know or we get to hear, we must condemn it.
There's something quite interesting with this one. It appears that the parents of this young girl are on all fours with the practice. They were there. They were happy to have that happen. People in the community, adults and whoever, were there. They were excited. They were happy. They believed that their tradition and their customary practice was being, exhibited.
Randy, sometimes it happens that parents accept certain decisions not because they like it, but certain circumstances can push them to accept it, even though they may disagree internally. There are instances where a lady goes to marry a man that the parents may disagree, but because of financial influence, they accept it. But in actual fact, it's against their will. So it is possible that the parents have also been coerced, or they don't appreciate the laws, or they have been influenced by other means. Otherwise, anybody who appreciates our current legislations that we available on these matters will not accept such a practice. You should be happy to allow your child to grow and to make an independent decision. That is very important. You can guide. You can try to advice, but to the extent of taking the decision for the girl when she's not matured enough, she doesn't know the implications of what she's going into. Nobody can convince me that this girl at 12 years actually appreciates what she's getting herself into. And nobody can convince me. As far as I am concerned, the girl is immature. She doesn't know what she has been pushed into, and probably she may live to regret it. And the damage that would have been caused to her will be irreversible. And that is not fair. I think that the Gadangwe tradition, I have been listening to the statement you just read. I mean, they try to condemn it. On the other hand, they try to defend it. I mean, it appears they are caught in between, and they disagree at one point, and another point they are introducing an Ayiko Oto, who is a seasoned lawyer, who knows that the Constitution of Ghana is supreme over any other law, and knows that the Constitution actually says that.
But the point he makes, the Honorable Ayiko Oto, the point he makes is that to the extent that is a betrothal and not a marriage, all those laws that people are citing don't kick in. It says that once they had a clarification that is a betrothal and not a marriage, and that it was the MCs at the occasion who, in spicing up the thing, then created the impression that it was a marriage. That is what has led to the controversy.
I think that maybe on that note, my very respected senior lawyer, Ayuko Oto, a man I have enormous respect for. I think if he had adverted his mind to Section 14(2) of the Children's Act.
What does that say?
And so I'll just want to read that portion. And it's addressing the specific issue.
Right.
The right to refuse betrothal and marriage.
Okay. So tell us what it says.
Quote, a person shall not force a child, A, to be betrothed, betrothed, B, to be the subject of a dowry transaction, or C, to be married. The minimum age of marriage, whatever kind, is 18 years. Then it proceeds, 15. A person who contravenes the provisions of sections 12 to 14 commits an offense. Upon summary conviction, to a fine not exceeding 250 penalty units, or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or to both the fine and imprisonment. So I strongly believe that if my learned senior had adverted his mind to this express...
Let me ask a layman's question. Okay. So what you read about betrothal, it speaks about a minor being forced. Must you therefore not establish the fact that she was forced?
No. Here, the essential ingredient of the offense here is the fact that...
Age.
Okay, so the general provision is that a person below the age 18 at common law could not engage in any transaction.
Yes.
There are only exceptions. That is, if the person is engaged in what we call contract of necessaries. Obviously, a marriage cannot be considered to be a contract of necessaries. Now, we have moved beyond the common law to a point where we have made it a statutory provision that under no circumstance whatsoever should A, B, C, D happen. And you say, Randy, proud to the enactment.
I wanted a point established.
Yes,
that's the basis for my question.
Yes.
You see that under rape and defilement.
Perfect.
Okay. Consent does not matter to the extent that the age limit is not up to a certain point.
Perfect.
So that's what I wanted to...
Yeah, so that's why I was developing the point. That this whole position is from the common law view.
Right.
That if you are below 18, you're unable to contract. You're unable to contract because the understanding is that you do not have the mental capacity either to appreciate consequences
or make an
informed decision. And so at the age of minority, you are not permitted to do anything. But even at common law, the understanding is that if it's a contract for necessaries, then a person who is of the minority age can't contract. But you must establish that first, this is a contract for necessaries. But then we have moved beyond that. So if you look carefully under the law, as part of the major reform in 1990s, resulted, among other things, in the passage of the Children's Act. So, and I want to say this, that's one of the things Mrs. Kunedu Ajman-Rawlings actually pushed. One of them was the PNDC Law 111, and then subsequently the issue of children. The other matter had to do with what people call the female genital mutilation. And what used to practice within the Ewe community, trocosi, then widowhood right, the issue of witches and camps, among other things. So there had been a certain overwhelming, right, conversation to criminalize all these offenses because they actually do violate the rights of the persons or the victims involved. And so, if you look at the law, and I, again, like I said respectfully, I strongly believe that if my learned senior, the distinguished Ayiko to Honorable, had adverted his mind to this clear statutory provision, the admission in his letter that if it was a betrothal, then you can proceed with it with the greatest respect to him. That does not even help the matter. Because clearly, and this is what they say in their letter, Honorable Ayiko to sign. He said the council, proving further had revealed that instead of a traditional betrothal that the MC who are known during such occasion to exaggerate issues to create laughter and others, they claim that it is not a traditional wedding. If there is this admission that, we concede that whilst betrothal could involve underage person, it does not grant license to the person to start having sexual relations with such a child, hereby jeopardizing her education, even endangering a difficult childbirth, since her organs are not properly developed, among other issues, right? So, if you want to do a betrothal here, and the person is, say, beyond 18 years, that's within whatever you want to do. If you are a man, your daughter is above 18, and you say it is
but the 18 then defeats the whole concept of betrothal, because the betrothal is a
giveaway kind of.
It's something that is done when the person is not.
No, but even here, assuming that at 18, that's what you intended to do, that person is no longer a child. So the provisions of the Children's Act will not apply. At that point, the person is of the age of majority and therefore can decide that notwithstanding my father or mother's decision to, as it were, give me out to marry to so and so, I do not want to. You can make that informed decision. But for the purposes of this discussion, the 12-year-old, it's just not possible that she can make that, informed decision at this critical point. I would urge the traditional authorities. Incidentally, Bogulomo is a personal friend. I kind of deal with him on some land issue.
Yes, for the regional chairman.
Yes, for the greater.
In fact, when I started, when I got into football administration with Hearts of Folk, they were our bosses. So he was the team manager for a long time, part of the management team. So he's somebody
an influential character.
Oh, he's somebody I know very well.
I mean, he's a man of extreme influence.
So was he was like assistant to Nigbesi today, who then was Tommy Okain. Nigbesi currently.
Tommy Okain.
Yes. So the Gbese Manche today. So the Babu Ulomo then, as Stephen Akwete, was like Nigbesi's assistant. So you always see Tommy and then him. So that was when you had Harry Zako, Mr. Ernest Thompson, I mean, all of them, that squad. Then we were the
boys.
The boys who were, you know, learning from them.
Randy, I strongly believe that at this critical juncture in our forward march relative to the 1992 Constitution, over 30-something years practice of it, the express provisions of the Children's Act, among other things, I think that we may be looking at a possible cease and desist, where in the circumstance, this 12-year-old would be taken completely away. I don't know.
So there are two messages. Let me read it. It appears that, look, we need to, you see, they say that in the, where we call the developed world, and it's something I've said all the time, that law is enforcement. In Ghana, law is enactment. And that's what makes the difference. Now, there are two messages that suggest that, well, probably, this case is what has brought out this issue of betrothal and the fact that it's even the Children's Act and all that. But it appears that the enactment of this law has not stopped a practice which is widespread. So I'll read two messages here. So this one is from Akojo Boafo, who is in the States, but he's from Elmina. And he says, in Elmina, my hometown, when a new chief is outdoored, a lady from a royal family is selected to sit in the palanquin with him during the installation ceremony. According to tradition, any child born to the chief and this lady, known as Ahinimba, will be the next chief. The tradition is rooted in a belief that Ahinimba is the chief's spiritual wife, and the offspring is destined to inherit the throne. This practice reinforces the royal family's lineage and ensures the continuation of the chiefly dynasty. This lady is normally a kid. I think we need to do something about these kinds of betrothal, which are all over the place in Ghana. Then, I have this from the Honorable Neil Antevandapoy, who is MP Ododo. Now, he also says this. He says, these practices have been with us for ages and are still valuable and relevant. There are many young boys who are also betrothed to our shrines. Their liberties, freedoms, and rights are not curtailed. They continue with their education and life. They are only set apart from abuse or to be touched until they reach adulthood. They are tutored deeply in our culture and traditions and only assume responsibilities of their call at adulthood. And there's that in the Bible, Samuel at a much younger age was given up to serve the Lord. He did that all his young age until he was an adult. This practice transcends the Gadangbe area. It is only because of the publicity this has been given. And talking about the biblical example, one of our viewers, Frank Latte, has also sent me something that dates from 1747, Negro land, that's West Africa. And it talks about remnants of the tribe of Judah who were forced into exile. And then it also speaks about Mary, the mother of Jesus, and betrothal and all that. So, Kazu, so the point I'm making is that that's why I said that maybe this was an Accra event, maybe the publicity. But it appears from all accounts that this issue of betrothal is something which has been happening for centuries, for decades, and it's happening even today, irrespective of the fact that there is a law that, from what you have read, speaks against it.
In fact, there is a much recent decision of the High Court that His Lordship Justice Akabuafo J.A., a Justice of the Court of Appeal, gave was at the High Court. And this had to do with gun custom. And it has to do with ascension to a particular stool. And one of the families contended that the person who had been nominated is left-handed.
Yes.
And for that matter, cannot ascend a stool. And that matter was brought before the judge. And so he had to navigate strictly the various cultural practices and norms and arrive at a conclusion. And my Lord Justice Akabuafo then indicated that, listen, if this thing had happened any time before the 1992 Constitution, possibly would have been permissible.
Okay.
But post the 1992 Constitution, their strict legal regime and a careful reading of Article 11 of the Constitution clearly puts the 1992 Constitution higher in terms of hierarchy over all other laws, and that in the circumstance, to the extent that the Constitution itself does not forbid a person who is left-handed from enjoying the full rights as a Ghanaian, to say that there is a particular custom, and again, it was within a Ghana context, that forbids a person who is left-handed from becoming a chief, to that extent, it is unconstitutional. And any such cultural practice should not be permissible. I strongly recall in those days when the vast issue about truckosy came up, it generated its own emotional and what have you responses. The people who said it was a cultural practice, among other things. Overall, once the Children Act come in, it forbids that from happening. And it doesn't matter who you are, just don't do it. And I strongly believe that the person of Bogulomo that I personally know and have interacted and kind of worked for, I do not believe that is a person who ordinarily would want to engage in such an act. And so I would, under the circumstance, I do not know whether I am qualified so to do, but respectfully advise.
Your senior Kakra says I should remind you that he's left-handed.
So Abura, he should just know that Abura is forbidden from, going close to...
I thought you said by the judgment the 92 Constitution...
No, by the law will strictly apply. In fact, this is what we call ad hominem, where you look at the person and then you direct the judgment to him. So maybe this one will go to... But on a more serious note, I would, with respect, urge the respected Steve Akwete, that's what I know him to be, Bogulomo, to basically disengage. You see, he's carved a certain niche for himself, a very respectable one, of course, within the Ghana chieftaincy institution. And so, I strongly believe that the question of reform should be coming from him relative to this cultural practice. Randy, in the past, it was easier for you what they call pioneering. If you commit an offense, right, and you have kids or children, you give the children out, possibly in settlement of your judgment debt or something. All those cultural practices have today been outmoded. And looking at the pedigree, the stature of Bogulomo, I strongly believe that he should lead a reform as to getting this. I'm happy that this thing has generated the needed publicity so that going forward, we can all come to a common ground. Our law do not allow this. So we can shape this culture properly that it does not happen. Where I sit, if you make any attempt that any of my 3 daughters, age 12, should be given out to such a thing, there will be bloodbath. Right? There will be bloodbath. And I strongly believe that this is not what we need today. I've seen communications to the effect that Odegbogbolomo should be arrested, among other things. I think we should exercise restraint. The issue of arrest comes in when the person is belligerent, has recklessly decided to indulge in such an issue. It may very well be that the level of information available to him may be limited. It provides a platform for all of us to be educated as to the limit to which some of us can, what we can indulge in and what we cannot under the circumstance. So I would ask for restraint in the call for arrest. But I've also seen a publication from Ghana Police to the effect that they have effected an evacuation of the child and the mother. I think it's the proper thing to do beyond the sensationalism. Let's see a common ground and with my respected senior Ayuku and co playing a lead role in the conversation. They'll bring the dictates of the law to the attention of Gbogboolomo. And this should come, we should have a finality to it.
Yes. Let me just add some few words.
Please do.
I think you made a very, very relevant point that as a country we need to look at. When you said that Ghana is a nation that enacts laws.
Yes.
In other places,
law is enforcement. In Ghana, law is enactment.
Yes. Yes. That is a problem we have. Yeah. Many of us, the acts my lawyer just read, many of us, including the educated class and even lawyers, are ignorant about it.
Do you know what happens? When the proponents of these laws, let's say the CSOs and others, will succeed in getting these laws approved, then there's fanfare. We have succeeded. The law has been approved. It ends the matter.
It ends there. And that is it's a big challenge that we have to address as a country. There are a lot of laws that should guide society to live and live better. Unfortunately, most of us are ignorant about the laws. And sometimes the challenges that confront us as a country is as a result of not implementing these relevant laws. We just make excellent laws, but when it comes to enforcement, it is almost zero. Apart from laws that are related to politics, I mean, all other laws, people overlook them. And that is very, very unfortunate. And so I conclude by adding my voice to the lawyer that the man, from what you have said, is a very respected man. He's somebody who has gone through, who has a lot of experience. And even when you read the statement from the Gadamwe Council, they say that he's an educated and enlightened person who appreciates all these things that we are discussing. I mean,
if you know him,
we are seniors.
I mean, he's such a fantastic.
He did postgraduate studies outside Ghana. Wow. I think in Eastern Europe.
No. Oh, Steve Akwete, you should know. If you have a personal, that is why I strongly believe that this thing possibly came at the right time. He, as an individual, can lead the charge to reform this.
I think we need there's a need for a deeper conversation.
Yes.
Because you see, I don't like us playing the ostrich. It appears from the text we are getting and from what we are reading that this is indeed a widespread practice.
Exactly.
That the enactment of this law has not stopped it. But for probably the fanfare and the coverage of this and the subsequent publication on social media, this would have been many of the others that have gone unnoticed. Yeah. And even as we speak, perhaps there's betrothal going on as we speak now.
In fact, Randy, you are right. I'm on a platform, and from the conversation, you notice that a lot of the other cultures within our tribes actually permits this.
Yes.
But like we always say in our criminal law class, that the fact that this is permissible, in fact, there's a famous case of incest, and the understanding was that in some of the cultures you are permitted to marry a cousin or something. And that was the defense that the lawyers were putting up, that, oh, yes, it's true, but it's culturally permissible. And the court said no. As far as our criminal legislations are concerned, culture, depending on how reprehensible the conduct is, and in this case, when it is specifically prohibited, you are not permitted to do it. It does not leave an opportunity for you to make a decision. No, you cannot do it, and so don't do it. And I strongly believe that the persons in the gender sphere will take this up. I mean, anybody would appreciate that when PNDC Law 111 came, it was not received with fanfare. It took a lot of advocacy to get it through. And I strongly believe that when we find ourselves, my very good friend Bright Appiah of Child Rights International and Co. can lead this discussion to ensure that we completely reform, so that this 12-year-old lady, 12-year young lady, will become the platform to reform the law relative to betrothal and among other things. So, on this note, I would urge my very good friend, the Bogulumo, to cease and desist, respectfully.
Cease and desist?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Before an injunction is filed.
A restraining order informally. And he's such a person who appreciates the court processes so well. In my dealings with him. So
anyway. All right. So we'll take a break until this story. The biggest story had to do with a board. A board that has the central bank governor, that has a deputy minister of finance, that has a deputy minister of trade, that has the CEO of one of the top companies in this country, notwithstanding the fact that they are now engulfed in debt. I don't know if it's sustainable or unsustainable, but that's another matter. You know, a board which is chaired by somebody who is quite respected in this country. And well, they should buy iPads and keyboards for them. And I mean, that was the issue. Then we had a statement from the organization. And the statement said that it had to do with an app which was now going to be used for board meetings. So the installation of an app requires the purchase of an iPad with an accompanying keyboard. This is 2024. Don't go check your calendar. We'll be back shortly. Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have the Honorable Amidu Chinia Isahaku and the legal practitioner, Godwin Eduji Tamaklu. But what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, us got the Mola, got the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the Game Park Games app on Play Store. You can also play on the website at www.gameparkgames.com or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Charlie, we could play this game and make some mola. Nobody beats out in Ghana. Game Park Games, more mola, more power. This game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority and it's not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Ayesoko. Dakosombo Dan be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply, and it's not for persons under 18. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It's indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go and grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 055 001 0000. All right. Okay. So, in the course of the holiday, there was this internal memo that made the rounds, and that internal memo was a request for the purchase of keyboards, and it says that we write to seek approval for the purchase of 15 pieces of keyboards for our board members, each costing 4,500 cedis. This is to enhance productivity and guarantee that they are comfortable utilizing their iPads during meetings. Attached is a proof of my invoice for your review. We count on your cooperation. Now, this memo suggests that these 15 persons have already been provided with the iPads. But what is required are keyboards that they can mount the iPads on to make their work comfortable. And this really generated a lot of questions. I mean, and the people were asking, I mean, these are not management personnel. These are board members. And if you look at the composition of the Cocoa board, the board of the Cocoa board, you have people like the governor of the central bank, a deputy finance minister, a deputy trade minister. The CEO of Cocoa board himself is there. It's a board which is chaired by Mr. Peter McMenu. And so we were like, I mean, for all this, why the institution has to buy them iPads and add keyboards for them to be able to do their work? So while this was going on, then yesterday, Ghana Cocoa Board then issued a release. There's clarification regarding procurement of iPad keyboards for board of directors. It says the Ghana Cocoa Board has taken notice of the widely circulated memo originating from the Information Systems Department of the board. The said memo is a proposal requesting management to approve the procurement of iPad keyboards for members of the board of directors. The request to purchase iPad keyboards was based, please listen to this carefully. The request to purchase iPad keyboards, not purchase iPads, the keyboards, was based on the board's adoption of the Convene app, which is part of efforts to reduce the use of paper and stationery during board meetings, while at the same time enhancing productivity and collaboration among members. We wish to emphasize that management has not sanctioned the procurement of the keyboards, and consequently, no procurement transactions have taken place. And this is issued by the Public Affairs Department. So when I saw it, the first thing was that it says the request to purchase iPad keyboards, the keyboards, was based on the board's adoption of a Convene app. What has the app got to do with keyboards?
The machine itself.
Yeah, I mean, you say that you've already given them iPads, but this memo has to do with the purchase of keyboards to help them use the iPads, be more comfortable using the iPads. And you say that the request for the keyboards had to do with you deciding to adopt an app. What has the adoption of an app got to do with keyboards? Anyway, I'm not technologically savvy, and I'm not that smart, so I probably don't appreciate it. Lawyer Duji.
Yes, Randy.
You live in that world, so
you see,
tell us.
You see, Randy, I think that this particular conversation makes greater meaning if you look at the current state of Cocoa Board as an institution. The post-2016 management of Cocoa Board has come in its wake terrible scorecards. Randy, for the first time in over 20 years, we had to do cocoa syndicated loan at 8%, the costliest we have ever had. Usually, cocoa syndicated loans would come at a maximum of 2%. In 2023, we did 8%. We did that 8% because the banks that usually syndicate these loans to Cocoa Board have given the clearest indication that Cocoa Board is no longer credit wealthy. And for that matter, they needed premium in order to make do with the cocoa syndicated loan. It has not ended there. As you are aware, persons who purchased cocoa bills have received quite deadly haircuts in the sense that from 26%, government is offering them, I think, 13%. That's almost halving the interest due and payable to the holders of these cocoa bills. And so you have a situation where Cocoa Board, as an institution, finds itself in a mess due to mismanagement. This level of wastage. And so the company is effectively bankrupt. Now you are dealing with a bankrupt state institution, and in a time of critical distance, and if you look at the memo accompanying the bill that we are just discussing, the minutes on it, among other things. Randy, you note that it is just this year, February this year to March. That was when they were making this purchase. At the time when the company is on its knees, I recall the inaugural speech of President Akufo-Addo that I shall protect the public purse by insisting on value for money. Mr. President, that oath to the people of this country, you have effectively forgotten about it. Agencies working directly under you have turned those public institutions into a platform of wastes. Because, respectfully, you yourself have not provided the critical leadership required. If the president, and I say this without any reservation, can, in the midst of crisis, be renting expensive private jets, it sends a message to his subordinates that they can do worse. When this matter came up, I saw the press release issued by my, we're all in the LLM class, Fifi Boafo. And he tries to water down the impact by saying that, management has not, quote unquote, given approval. Meanwhile, when you look at the memo, the minutes, the handwritten notes, shows that all the management approval had been given.
Yeah, my point...
In fact, the only thing left is to see evidence of actual purchase.
No, my point really...
But from management point of view, yes, Randy.
I even want to go with the release. And I'm trying to make sense out of the release.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that it says the request
is
to
based
purchase
on
iPad keyboards.
Yes.
Because you see, the memo in question is not about purchase of iPads.
No.
It means that the iPads have been purchased already. But you need 15 keyboards to go with the iPads. But you're saying that your statement says that the request to purchase these keyboards was based on the board's adoption of the Convene app, which is part of efforts to reduce the use of paper and stationery during board meetings, while at the same time enhancing productivity and collaboration among members. So are you suggesting that you need the iPads in order to install the app? Or without the keyboards, the app won't work?
But you say, Randy, this is what is called an afterthought. Obviously, Cocoa Board as an institution never expected that this memo or purchase will leak. And so it is because it has leaked that they are trying to reconstruct the narrative. And in the attempt to PR this particular mess, they have rather created a huge mess. Again, like you pointed rightly, the installation is done into the machine itself. It's not the keyboard. The keyboard possibly will provide a certain greater functionality.
So let's say if we took the governor,
so
Bank of Ghana,
I get you,
will buy the governor an iPad. Cocoa Board will buy him one. If he serves on some other boards, they will buy him. So anybody, they will buy. I mean, what's the meaning of this? And
my point is that how can it even be said that when Governor Addison is moving from Bank of Ghana to go to a board meeting at, Cocoa Board, he's unable to go with his iPad or electronic gadgets?
No, for every board, you must have a separate gadget.
No, but how is that even permissible?
No, I'm just saying, for every board. So if you serve on 6 boards, you should have 6 iPads with 6 keyboards.
Randy, how is that even permissible? Why should we even permit that now? And look, if you look at the Cocoa Board, the board members themselves, these are very prominent individuals.
Yes.
I recall how in the past, our friends in the NPP used to say that, they are coming to office with well-to-do people who have no blah, 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 blah. Now, if you come to office and we begin to see this level of reckless expenditure, it becomes difficult. And I've made this point always. Randy, if you are telling the good people of this country that we are in austerity, and for that matter, Ghanaians should tighten their belts because the journey ahead is going to be rough. And Ghanaians should do so, say, okay, it's shared responsibility. They want to see your corresponding behavior toward this austerity. You have a situation where the person telling you to put on your belt does not even have a belt hole. How then do you encourage citizens to move along with you? At the time when you are asking public sector workers that we do not have money, at the time when we had to struggle to generate 4 million Ghana cedis for the Reina Center at Kolebu, among many other things that government of Ghana says we do not have money to do. And we see this kind of thing. It is only a government that believes that it is entitled to misgovern that will be engaging in such recklessness. And look, like our elders say, starting from the top, from the very head. The president himself has not been a good example. In the midst of COVID, in the midst of recovering from COVID-19, that was the time he decided to engage in luxurious private jet rentals. Now, if you have this kind of situation, how easy is it to get citizens to join you in the effort to rebuild this country? It becomes extremely difficult. And if you look at the financials of Cocoa Board, as we speak, terrible situation. Randy, not long ago, you recall, the special audit report prepared by the Auditor General on cocoa rows alone. The Auditor General found that 87% of the cocoa rows were awarded through sole sourcing and restrictive tendering. I recall variously how in opposition the likes of Gabi Asarechidako likened sole sourcing to stealing. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in his various public lectures, used to criticize sole sourcing. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo himself used to attack sole sourcing under his watch as president and vice president. 87% of cocoa rows that were contracted were done through sole sourcing. And this is not Eduji saying it. This is the Auditor General appointed by Akufo-Addo himself, not Domelevo. Mr. Johnson Esiama. That is what he had found on the ground. And so, Randy, we should all get this thing clear, that the various state institutions cannot engage in this wasteful expenditure. You saw the Bank of Ghana 2023 numbers. Emolument, car purchase, car maintenance, travels. How Bank of Ghana, the amount of money they are using for their travels, the amount of money they were using for car maintenance, among many other things.
But it's a huge institution.
No,
Bank of Ghana is huge.
No, I'm not even, but you see, if you look at the numbers, in some instances, the jump is about 100%. How do you justify this? And like Cocoa Board tried justifying this obnoxious, outrageous purchase, is to say that, oh, you know what, the board is yet, there's no actual purchase, and for that matter, it was right. If this memo had not leaked, if you look at the memo and the handwritten
approvals.
Yeah, the handwritten approval. I think I have a copy. If you look at the handwritten approval, all the people whose authorization required have all, okayed.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen.
Thankfully, the handwritten. You will see all of them have been okayed. The various signatures, all of them. Look at the handwritten memo. And so, my brother Fifi, withdraw this. It's a complete insult to the intelligence of people.
Right. Okay.
We are not happy.
How many boards do you serve on?
No, I don't serve on any board.
Oh.
I'm not on any board.
You don't have agencies under your ministry?
We have Ghana Water, we have Community Water, and then
and there's no
water resources.
There's no ministerial representation.
There is.
Okay.
There is, but I am not on any board.
Oh, okay. So
Randy,
you just have your
parliamentary by choice or design.
You just have your parliamentary. so you must have only 2 iPads, a parliamentary and a ministerial one.
No, ministerial. There's no iPad.
So it's only parliamentary.
Parliament, they gave us some computers.
Yeah.
A computer
for your offices.
Yes, for our offices.
Okay, all right.
But
let me hear you on this. Yeah.
My difficulty is with the letter written by Cocoa Board. If you heard,
is it a press release or
the press release?
Okay.
The press release. Yeah. If you had an agency and you make a decision, or you are about making a decision, you must be bold to stand by the decision, because you would have thought about it severally, you would have consulted. How come that there was an internal memo to buy keyboard for iPads? How did that start? Certainly, it's a decision that came from management.
A memo from an officer who doesn't sit at the board.
There was a decision from management for the process to be triggered, for these things to be bought. Otherwise, the officer couldn't have written the memo to start the process. So it means that management was in full knowledge of this process. Now, the memo has gone through the process. Various officers have signed on it, giving approval for the items to be bought. And now you issue a statement saying that the things have not been bought. I mean, it's contradictory for me, because no lower officer can start the process of trying to buy keyboards for board members if the top management had not shown interest or requested. So for me, the management should have stood by the decision and justify it.
Yes, if it's justifiable, why not?
They should have their reasons. Whether we accept it or not.
In fact, they put a reason in the thing.
Yes, so they should have stood by their position. You see, Randy, it is one thing when you make a decision and people disagree with you. And another thing when you make a decision, people criticize, and then you run away and you are making a different statement. It rather makes you worse off.
True. You're right. You're right.
It's better to stand by your decision, even if it is the worst. That is being principled. But you make the decision, then people talk, and then you shift position. That is how I see the situation. That management is shifting position. And that is not right.
And throwing somebody under the bus.
That is not right.
As if the person decided by himself.
That is completely wrong.
If you look, DOF is what?
Director of Finance. And
this is what he says, vetted. So I recommend for the supply of the items at a cost of 4,500 Ghana cedis for one.
That's the Director of Finance.
So the Director of Finance, and you, the person issuing this, I'm not sure you are a management member. The Director of Finance is a management member. And he says this had been vetted and approved. And if you look at all the signatures on the memo, so I don't know where.
So Randy, I mean, look at that, what lawyer has just said. I mean, on what basis is the Director of Finance approving it? Because under our procurement law, if you want to do such a supply, you request various companies to bring invoices. So I don't know whether there were invoices attached which should be at least 3. That is what the law requires, at least 3. Then from the 3, you can choose the least. So I don't know the basis for that statement.
In fact, the director is saying that he has vetted.
Okay, so maybe
Which presupposes that
he had more than one invoice.
You see the portion.
And he has gone through.
The one in red, that's the DOF. And this is the vetting that was done.
So for me, Cocoa Board has done itself a disservice because, they should have stood by their management decision. Because sometimes, as a country, we get emotional about so many things.
Yeah.
These items, Randy, to be honest with you, I've just tried to check the because you can go and look at when they say iPad keyboard. Some people just go and Google and then they find certain things which will cost like 200, 500. But at least every item comes with its own specs. And so the specs for which they are buying needs to be known. And you look at the market, whether the price is worth it. Because I have looked at a particular
what about the
what they call magic keyboard.
What about the principle? Okay.
Magic keyboard, which will go for about 4,300.
Yes.
So in principle, it's possible that the amount being recommended could be a fair deal. Could be a fair deal because there are iPad keyboards that cost over 4,000 in the market, and they have a specific keyboard that they wanted, and that is why I'm saying that they shouldn't have taken the double stance. They should have stood by their decision. They should avert people's minds to what exactly they wanted. Let people look at it in the open market and see if it is justifiable or the price quoted is justifiable. And from what I am seeing, if it is anything to go by, it means that 4,500 will not be an abuse. Because there are items that cost 4,300. And the person who is doing the supply certainly should have a profit margin.
But the justification the company provides is not that, the 4,500 is competitive.
But I think my point is that Ghanaians are being emotional about this matter because they are looking at the price to be high. And I have been following social media where people have quoted iPad keyboard that you can buy at 800 Ghana cedis. So why are you buying this at 4,000?
Yes.
But the specs.
There's one I saw that said that the same company that was doing the supply has the same product on one of those online platforms for 2,000 something.
Yes. So for me, they should have tried to rather look at, because Ghanaians are worried because of the price. That at this difficult time when people are struggling, you are buying just keyboards at 4,500. For me, when I follow the discussion, that is what I get.
So first of all, we all know that iPads have keyboards already.
Yes.
But then you can also have an external keyboard.
Yes.
Just so that you can just mount it and be doing your. But they have keyboards already.
Yes. So for me, the double standard is where I have a problem. They could have accepted taking responsibility, and even if it is the case that the price is unjustifiable, then you take a cue from the public outcry and accept that you got it wrong. There is nothing wrong with the public figure or a public servant making a mistake and admitting to the public that you have made a mistake. It's part of leadership.
Mistakes.
Yes.
We all make mistakes.
But the double standard is what I don't like. But my respected lawyer tried making, running a lot of commentary, not on the subject matter, but the whole company. You see, I have a whole problem with Cocoa Board, either under NDC or MPP, that we have over-relied on the issue of syndicated loans for too long. This is a very viable industry that, if managed properly, Randy, Cocoa Board should not be taking this syndicated loan in the first place. It has happened under the NDC, it's happening under the MPP. Let's look at it as a country and begin to take steps that will make it possible for us to raise funds internally and to sell our cocoa at prices that is worth it. Because when you go for syndicated loans, it means you are giving your cocoa, you are selling your cocoa at a certain guaranteed price.
Forward price.
Forward price, yes. And by the time you actually go to the market, the possibility of having higher prices, but already you have committed yourself.
In fact,
and you would have incurred losses to the
even
state.
if we had the beans, we will not be profiting from this $10,000 thing.
Well,
we will not.
So that is
the point is that you see, the story of Cocoa Board is that we're even going from bad to worse. I don't disagree with you on your issue of the syndicated loan and all that. Sometimes the fanfare with even syndicating the loan makes me ashamed.
But Randy, I am making this point because we taking the syndicated loan at 8% is because of the current global crisis.
No,
because when you go to all the,
it has more to do with the current credibility of Cocoa Board. So they went looking for 1-point-something billion.
1.2 billion.
Yeah.
But in fact, out of the 1.2, they could not. They got only 800 million. So they had to fall on the cocoa purchasing company to more or less front load.
The current thing that you're talking about, the current thing you're talking about also has to do with Cocoa Board's own books. You see, we have the global Ghanaian debt situation, but inherent in that is also the debt of particular institutions.
Yeah, but the point, Randy, I'm trying to make is that the current debt situation or the current state of Cocoa Board is a factor. But it's also true that interest rates on loans across the globe have gone higher. So once globally interest rates have gone higher, including Ghana, whichever market you go, you are likely to experience higher rates.
You see, for the Ghanaian banks, it's like saying that you and I, when we go to the bank today, same bank, are you aware that we could get different rates?
Yes. There can be negotiated.
Yes. So you see, these banks, every year, you refer to a syndicated loan, every year they do business with Cocoa Board. They know Cocoa Board's exposure. They know how Cocoa Board is able to repay or not repay its loans. They do their due diligence. They know the ability of Cocoa Board to be able to pay or not to pay. And these are things that they will factor. Apart from, I'm not saying that the global climate will not be taken into consideration. But a lot will zero in on the performance. So, for example, MTN Ghana, they're also in the same economy. If MTN Ghana was going for a facility from a bank, and Cocoa Board was also going for a facility, MTN Ghana will not go through that stress.
Yeah.
They will not even think twice advancing the money to MTN Ghana because of its books. Despite the fact that there is a global problem, Ghana has a problem. But they will also look at the institutions' credibility and its books.
Randy, I agree with you, but the point I'm also just making is that what you are saying is a factor, but the global, interest rate in the market is also a factor.
No, but this one has nothing. It has nothing to do with global pricing.
No.
The banks were specific that they needed a premium.
It's not even talking about pricing.
I'm talking about interest rates.
No, that's the point I'm talking, the pricing.
Yeah.
And here, the banks were specific that they needed premium, more like an insurance. Before
But that has always been the case.
But that has always been the case. We have never got into this.
Oh.
This is the costliest. Bloomberg reported it, and
but do you also agree that Cocoa Board has been able to increase the market price locally by 63.2%?
That has nothing to do with
It has.
What has that got to do with you?
So in spite of the challenges, they've been able to increase the market price by 63.6%.
No, but it has nothing to do with you.
For the farmer. So cocoa farmers are benefiting more, even though the company is going through some distress.
How benefited? The point is
prices are shot up by 63.5%.
Listen, you don't farm.
I'm talking about cocoa farmers.
Yes, I agree. I'm saying that Cocoa Board doesn't farm. The produce is produced by a farmer. The farmer is aware that the price is set globally. You do not set the price. And they have seen the price. Are you telling me that even when the farmer has seen that this is the price, you can decide to give him something lower? You can't.
Well, they determine.
You can, but there will be consequences.
So effectively you cannot.
They will normally engage.
Let's end on this. I've just seen a release on our previous, the previous topic we discussed, the second topic.
Okay.
This is from Gadangbe Lawyers Association. Are you aware of the association?
No.
Yeah, Gadangbe Lawyers Association. And this was actually issued yesterday. It says the Gadangbe Lawyers Association expresses its strong disapproval of the recent marriage between the Gbobulom of Nungwa, Nomo Bokete Lawechuru, the 33rd, age 63, and a 12-year-old girl, which took place on Saturday, March 30, 2024. Despite claims that the marriage was by customary right and will not engage in any marital duties until she turns 18, This does not negate the fact that a fundamental human rights as enshrined under Chapter 5 of the Constitution of Ghana has not been upheld. It is important to note that the Children's Act provides that the minimum age of marriage of whatever kind, and that's what Edwidge referred to, shall be 18 years. And since she's below the age of consent, she's unable to legally consent to the marriage. Ghana signed the Convention of the Rights of the Child on 29 January 1990, and 1 week later, on 5th February 1990, Ghana became the first country in the world to ratify the treaty, committing to adopt it into national law. Some traditional practices such as this does not uphold the protection of children's rights. The Children's Act also clearly states that the best interest of the child shall be paramount in any matter concerning a child. It's evident that in this case, the best interest of the 12-year-old has not been made a priority. The Gadangbe Lawyers Association calls for an immediate end to this practice and urges the community to prioritize the well-being and rights of children. We call on the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Honorable Laribazu Eru Abudu. Hasn't she been sacked?
Yeah, when I saw...
she's been sacked. Okay. And child rights organizations to intervene. So this is from them. But talking about how widespread the practice is, one of our ardent viewers, Adelaide, says this child marriage does not happen with chieftaincy alone. My story, about 14 years ago, a parent from Garo Timpani, Upper East, residing and farming in Ashanti region, begged me to take care of their 15-year-old daughter in Accra, or he will have to send her to Garo to be married, since she refuses to go to school. The father was worried that she will gallivant and get pregnant, and thus will not be eligible for marriage in the Upper East region, his tribe, where he comes from. I prayed on this before I took her in for 3 years. She really did not like schooling, so I promised to take her to vocational school at 18 years. I enrolled Pinaman, I'm sure that's the name, to hairdressing school before age 18. She went to visit her parents, came back, and guess what? She was pregnant. So that's another that suggests that it is widespread, it happens every day. And so we probably need to take a deeper and broader look at this particular issue. Anyway, so gentlemen.
Randy,
yes.
Randy, one of your regular panelists,
yes.
Margot, today happens to be her birthday.
Margaret Ansai.
Fantastic.
Today is Margot's birthday.
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know, usually on Mondays,
yes.
She comes through for the party. So I just want to use that platform.
Didn't remind me.
So I'm doing the needful.
So today is Margot's birthday.
Stop.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, Margot, happy birthday.
So happy birthday to you, Margot.
And my constituency secretary for Esojaman, Clement, happy birthday as well.
Esojaman is also your constituency?
Yes, I have a lot of...
FTs there.
Oh, Randy, from this morning. Thank you.
No trouble. Do you have FTs in your constituency?
We want Ampim Dakon to retain the seat against... Thomas. Yes, Thomas, against Pipe.
Nice guy. I really like him.
Yes. And you know, we have a lot of West settlers in that constituency. The town.
Everywhere there's
river.
Everywhere there's water.
Both candidates are
Everywhere there's water, F1 and Davi will be there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I can only wish him well.
Right.
Wish Pius too well.
Who?
Pius.
Why should I wish him well? In this context.
They're both your brothers.
In this context.
Yeah, wish him too well. Okay, let him also wish him well.
One is Atiglini and the other one.
I also wish Pius well.
That's all. So it's a drawn game. Anyway, so happy birthday to you again, Margaret Ansay, popularly known as Margot. Happy birthday to you, Margot. Okay, she's always smiling. Anyway,
for you.
Up next, GMG Trends. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Time to check out what is trending on social media. With Desi, need I ask what is trending? Isn't it obvious?
It's very obvious. You know, all the things trending on social media. I'm sure you've touched on that with your panelists this morning. So welcome back from the Easter break. You could see Yesu. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, was it for? So welcome back from the Easter break into a brand new month, the month of April. Hey, they run rough. Already 4 months into 2024. But let's get into the stories trending. The first of it, as you know, from ABBEY TV. Look, you know who handled that channel?
Who?
I mean, Obadiah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, so he handles, you know, but he's out of town, so I'm sure like he's got people working on that for him. So that's how the story came out. And since then on social media, a lot of people have been sharing their thoughts about it. Even the Ghana Police Service has also released a statement about it and say that they have identified and located a 12-year-old girl who is alleged to have been married to a 63-year-old Bobu Bulomo in Nungwa, Accra. The girl and her mother are currently under police protection. And this one says, somewhere in Ghana, a 63-year-old priest can boldly marry a 12-year-old girl in the name of tradition and indigenous customs. This is not the return to traditional African societal systems we advocate for. Nungwa, we are disgusted. Shame. All right, so that's the messages going on Twitter. So, maybe I do it here. I don't know. A lot of people have been talking about culture, tradition, but this one they be like, you know, things that.
You know, the Constitution recognizes customary law.
Yeah.
But where customary law is in conflict with statutes or legislation, obviously it gives way. And it's been made clear that this frowns on the Child's Act. The Child's Act speaks about betrothal before the age of 18. And so there's express provision. Yeah.
And also, what I hear...
But the truth of the matter is that it appears that this is widespread. It's been happening every day, even from when that law was passed. We first of all signed on to the International Convention, and then we signed up and we became the first country to even put it on our law books. But typical of Ghana, law is enactment, not enforcement. So, but for this issue, I'm sure that if this was not, didn't happen with all the fanfare and the coverage and all that, it would have passed just like the many others that pass, that passes every single day in different parts of this country. Because if you read social media, if you get the messages that are coming in, you realize that this is a practice
that's been going on.
That happens every day, irrespective of the fact that there is a law. But obviously, because this one came up, the videos and everything was highlighted in the media, we're discussing it. But for me, the bigger picture is that although we have enacted a law, the purpose of the law has not been served.
Not been served. And it's been happening. And also, I think I must have heard in there that for like 6 years now, she's been prepared, you know.
So it means from age 6.
Age 6?
Yes. She's been identified from age 6. She's now 12. A public statement has to be made to ward off anybody because she's supposed to be a virgin at the time of marriage.
Yeah. And I heard if you're looking for virgins from a particular house, but maybe I saw, yeah. Why did that so even cut? Let me move on now. If you want to travel and you don't have a passport yet, trouble because the thing that was 100 Ghana wrong. Is here now 500 Ghana. 500 Ghana is so that has also caused a lot of rage on social media. People not happy about it. So let me read some of the comments. This one says that how can this woman tell me this story? So that was about the Minister for Foreign Affairs saying that even airplane tickets are expensive. You want a citizen to pay 500 cedis for his country's passport. What if he travels and wants an American passport? How will he or she pay? 500 cedis is too much for a Ghanaian passport. At least 200 cedis will be okay. Okay, that's from Kweku writing that on that issue. We all agree government does not have money, but why should any government subsidize each passport with 300 Ghana cedis? Ask the price of passport in Togo, Benin, and the Gambia. So this comment And what I saw the document as to the reason why the increments has happened, you know, that in our neighboring countries.
So, what is the cost of printing a passport by government? How much does it cost government to print one booklet?
One booklet.
Whether it's 32 page or 48 page. That's the first thing you must ask. And should passports be, how do you put it? Should they be subsidized?
Yeah.
You know, should a passport be subsidized? A passport is not like a voter ID card. And it's not like a Ghana card.
A Ghana card.
You understand me? And there are people, especially in the US, who have never applied for a passport, who don't have a passport because they don't need one.
Okay.
They only need a passport when they want to travel.
Yeah.
And there are many, many people, especially in America, Canada, many other places, they don't have a passport because they are not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere.
So they have their state IDs, they have their driver's license, they have all those things. So sometimes when you're dealing with the issue of a passport, it's a bit different from when you're talking about a Ghana card, or a voter ID card.
Okay.
They're different, you know. So passport, driver's license, they are different from when you're talking about a voter ID.
That everybody should have.
But as to whether we should have sat down and waited and do a 500% increment, yes. Don't whisper. It's crazy. That's true. You know, that's true. So could we have done it incrementally over a period?
Over a period.
So let's say maybe over a 1 year period, if you had gone maybe 100%.
It keeps going.
Yes. And then we ultimately get to. But to move from this point to that,
straight,
it's too steep. And that's what will create.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I look at the bigger picture, should a passport be subsidized? I don't see a passport like a voter ID or a Ghana card.
Okay.
If it's a voter ID, it's a Ghana card, and the expense is borne by the state, I will agree.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But for a passport, yes.
All right. So
if I don't have a need for a travel, why do I need a passport?
Why do you need a passport?
I don't need a passport to access any service in my country. I don't need a passport to drive. I don't need a passport to open a bank account. I don't need a passport to do anything.
Unless you want to travel.
I need a passport when I am traveling outside of Ghana.
Anyway, so you saw the prices on the screen. 500 cedis.
But to move from
100 to 500.
I mean, I agree with you. It's crazy.
Doc, I thought it was April Fool.
Huh?
I thought it was April Fool. That was 1st April. So I thought by the close of the day, they'll say, oh, it was just...
The one I thought was April Fool was the Cocoa Board statement. When he said that they were going to get the iPads, the iPads to facilitate app. I was trying to establish a connection between the app and the keyboard. Then I realized that, I mean, some people need some keyboards upstairs.
If it is. If it is. But we are going to adjust for... Because, you are quite this whole.
Our by-election.
Yeah, because former GFA president.
Yes.
Yes. He's one for this.
I've seen some posters. I told you about 10 persons.
Yeah. We know. Anyway, I saw someone write Kwesi Nyantakyi. But I don't think nowadays it's true.
What?
No, I can't say it on no, I can't say it on air. But so that's the poster. Kwesi Nyantakyi vying for the vacant Ejisu seat. So we'll see how it goes in that particular one. Yeah. So no, on that note, so let me say kudos to everybody who came out to support us. This is Ghana Fair at Osu.
Oxford Street.
Yes, 3 days. It was amazing. So a lot of beautiful stuff from Ghana there. Lots of people came around to also support. And let me wrap up saying today is the birthday of my little siblings, Patrick and Patricia Dan. So happy birthday to you.
Are they twins?
Yes, they're twins.
Oh, you have twin siblings?
Yes, I have twin siblings, Patrick and Patricia Dan. So today's your birthday, 19. Yes. Yeah.
They are 19?
You're 19 today.
Okay.
So I will shower you some blessings. Oh, and also shouts to my friend.
Big bro for do show.
Yeah, I say F's and medical.
You get your pay no chair. So.
No.
No.
Oh, but have you? Hey, I think he's also in the corner. I've skipped moving.
Who is Auntie?
Auntie. Ah, slave. Bridget Otu, the one and only.
Ah, she's been. There's a match. Have you seen her African Prince?
Don't be small.
Hey,
she go do also there. Like,
I saw a picture of you with. I mean, she and Doctor you know, Doctor knocking in
the Mason.
Yeah, obviously small.
It has got power to the people. Anyway, that's it for the trends today.
But you have to see, this cement price has gone up.
Has gone up.
So you have to see, the profit has also gone up.
True. No, you know the president was in Gwewu.
Huh?
So the president was in Gwewu.
I saw
a video of him dancing
at the nightclub.
Yeah.
The Rock City nightclub.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him.
Oh, I mean 80 years. So he celebrated his birthday also. That was 31st. Friday. Yes. So he has to.
It's 80th.
Yes. Has to unwind. You know.
So you go club small.
Then that was to see your friend Agrada.
Who?
Agrada.
How is she, my friend? I don't know her.
No, I mean like
I've never met her before.
Our set friend. Oninikuru. Hey, so for
they were also at the nightclub. The same nightclub. They were with the president.
Now I didn't see that shot with the president though, but
okay.
Hey, so for Pan Soloku. Oninikuru Soloku club star.
So for no be firewood.
That's it for the trends. My name is Desi the Star Boy. I'll be back tomorrow.
I thought you were going to show us the president boogieing in the club. You don't have that.
Oh, that one I'll bring it tomorrow. I'll bring that tomorrow.
The president loves dancing. Have some steps, be.
It'll be slow but sure.
Yeah. Against the pimpiness.
Anyway, so I'll see you tomorrow. Up next, Metro Sport.